Welcome to Streaming Hour. This is episode 1, the trajectory of streaming services. I'm joined today by Brees. Say hello, Brees.
Hello.
We'll be talking about our core subjects on streaming services, mainly the effect it has on modern society, the future of content consumption, and representation. But that won't be all we're talking about, that's just the main core values. We'll also be talking about specific media products, that's streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, BBC iPlayer, and Disney Plus, which isn't available here yet, but it will be, and it's...
Next year, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Most specifically with streaming services, we'll be talking about movies. And that would be movies that we're either watching or look forward to watching, including ones that have caused controversy in the streaming world. Most notably Roma. And we'll be talking about also the popularity worldwide that mainly Netflix has created, but most importantly Disney Plus, which has become the new kid on the block, especially overseas in America, where they've hit ridiculous numbers with their people that have logged on and created an account within the first, I would say, week, but mainly day, which has crashed their servers. And I don't know how they didn't predict that to not come to fruition, but that will be, at least it will be fixed for us when we get it next year anyway.
Yeah.
What do you reckon about the Roma, how it got the Academy Awards and people thought it was...
I don't know. It was like quite surprising, I guess.
People were like genuinely offended by it. like it makes no sense to me. A film's a film. It doesn't matter how it's distributed, in my opinion. I think personally, streaming services give filmmakers especially more opportunities.
Yeah.
But like the future of content consumption specifically is definitely leaning towards more streaming services. And I think old school directors will feel threatened by that because all they know is the cinema format, an old school film. But if they take a page out of Martin Scorsese's book, he just recently released The Irishman on Netflix. So if he's for it, then surely that should be a indication that it's not all that bad for
showing
filmmakers.
Like it's gonna grow in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Not just for young filmmakers, but you know, you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah. You'll have more of an audience because like a film is more specific if you go to the cinema or something, or you like buy it. But as in Netflix, you can just like browse, you just find it, and then you could just click on it and see if it's good or not.
You tend to find a lot more originality on Netflix and stuff as well now, because I say that, but with the Christmas periods, I've noticed on Netflix alone, there's about 6 Christmas movies all coming out, and they're all the exact same plot that we've seen for the past 50 years, which is the exception. But other than that, they're quite good with their original movies and TV shows, which is why people love it so much, because with the cinema, or with theatre, the films that go straight into the cinema, a lot of them, especially in recent years, the past few years, have been a lot of reboots, and there's nothing original coming out of Hollywood. I think that's a major problem.
But like finding originality in films is going to be quite hard because, let's say you wanted to watch something, a horror movie, people are going to watch for the same thing again, like jump scares and stuff. So it's quite hard to balance it out.
True, which makes what they're doing with their originals a bit more impressive, I think.
Yeah.
The fact they're still able to push the boundaries of what's original and what's kind of regurgitated crap from Hollywood. Streaming services also seem to do quite well with their representation of minorities and the LGBT community. I know they're really happy with the content they create to represent them. You see a lot of the shows and movies specifically embrace people's diversities, and and their casting for a lot of their originals is really diverse as well. Most specifically, did you ever see that show Sabrina? It was on Netflix.
Nope.
It was released like a year ago or so. I think there's 2 seasons of it now. But there was a girl, was one of the main characters, who's transitioned basically. I didn't know that when watching it, but I found out afterwards. And I thought, fair play for that, because a lot of studios wouldn't have the guts to kind of include that, I suppose. What have you been watching recently?
Recently I've been watching Top Boy on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I heard a lot of good things.
Yeah, that's it really.
Is that your main show you go to?
Yeah, I'm just watching through it right now when I have the time. It's actually quite good. Like,
It's still running, isn't it?
yeah, so I believe it like stopped early 2010 or something. I'm not too sure, but Channel 4 used to run it. But then
didn't it get revived by Drake or something?
yeah, Drake revived it. He wanted to put money into it. Got all the actors back, and I believe he got some rappers to like get music for the series.
'Cause he went through like a weird phase, didn't he? Like a year ago of loving British rap.
Yeah.
He was almost trying to become a Brit himself.
Yeah.
That's all it takes, is like one big influencer to save a show like that.
Yeah.
Wasn't he going to appear on the show?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, but I think they said it was like unrealistic, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah, especially if he's doing his Canadian accent.
Yeah.
In Harrow. Have you watched Dave Chappelle? His stand-up specials on Netflix.
Mhm.
That's probably a main thing I'd recommend for you to watch. 'Cause they're not only insanely funny, because he's like one of the greatest comedians of all time, but they've caused like major controversy with like in Hollywood alone because of his jokes about transgender people. But that's kind of comedy is subjective, and a lot of people find those kind of jokes funny. And even transgender people like stick by him and say it's funny, but people always find something to get triggered about.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to like keep it level both ways.
Yeah,
There's always one that's gonna disagree. But that's the problem when your popularity. Of course, you're gonna get haters.
Yeah,
because you have such a huge number of people following you. Of course, people are gonna be jealous and not support you.
And people are worried comedy as a whole is going to die out because of how many people are getting offended now of little things.
Yeah.
You've also watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia, haven't you?
Yeah. I've watched quite a few episodes.
Did you catch up with it recently, or was it a show you watched when it came out?
It was like, so me and my dad watched it just to spend family time together, I guess. Enjoyed it. I watched like a few episodes, then I'll do something, and then if he's on like another episode, I'll just watch it, because there's not really a storyline, so you can watch wherever.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of seasons of it as well.
Yeah, there's like
been going for years.
12 seasons, I believe. Or
aren't they renewing it for another season, or
yeah,
like
I believe
a film or something?
Every year they do one, but I'm not too sure about the film.
Yeah, because it has like such a big cult following. Even if like studios don't rate it, like the cult following and like it's like stamp on pop culture has been huge. It's one of those shows that a fan loved. I don't know if you said you watched Peaky Blinders either.
No.
But that was a BBC production. That's another one I highly recommend. A lot of people loved that. That was one of those shows that's a bit like Top Boy, where so many people were recommending it that I didn't want to see it. But then I give it a chance, and actually is really good. It's on iPlayer, I believe. Do you watch anything on iPlayer at all?
I know sometimes BBC release like these special film things. So recently they did an iPlayer on like 5 minutes on films. So there'll be 5-minute conversation on like wine films. The pretty lady's always in the red dress and stuff.
I know you recently saw Black Mirror. Was that for the first time you saw it?
Yeah.
And that's the only episode you've watched?
Yeah.
That's another one that I highly recommend to you and anyone watching that hasn't, or listening that hasn't watched it, because that show is probably one of the best things to come out of Britain, even though it's become, a lot of, when it first aired on, I think, Channel 4, I believe, one of the British channels, it was mainly British actors and a whole British production, but because it's got so big now, it's a lot of American actors and actresses in it, because how it's meteoric rise. That's one of those shows that have been one of the best things to come out of Britain in the past 10 years. I think Charlie Brooker wrote it. he's a really good British filmmaker and writer. Yeah, so I definitely recommend watching. That's another one as well.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to know like the previous episodes to watch it.
Yeah.
It's like an anthology series,
Yeah.
so you can like go in at any moment and watch it.
It's like on the first episode, it like opens your eye up to the future. Really, like it gets you thinking. I think Black Mirror.
Yeah, it's one of those thought-provoking, controversial type series.
It's also like you kind of have to rewatch it to understand it as well.
Yeah,
It's like one of them.
I like those ones that make you think.
Yeah.
Also, NSFW, definitely. Have you seen the new film by Scorsese, The Irishman, yet? That just got put on Netflix.
No.
I haven't got around to watching it yet,
Yeah.
but I've heard a lot of good things. It's like the whole old band back together. Have you ever watched any of the old Scorsese films like Goodfellas and all that with De Niro, Al Pacino?
No.
Well, absolute cult classics, definitely. They Irishman's got a lot of praise though, because it's kind of like a long-awaited film, if you will, or project from Scorsese and De Niro. Well, going back to streaming services potentially eclipsing the cinema experience, are you against that or are you for that?
So yeah, going to the cinema, it's like a nice day out, but it's expensive, I believe. Like you're paying like a good amount of money.
Yeah,
But like if you're watching Netflix or something, it's a monthly subscription.
yeah.
It's probably as much as a cinema ticket, and you could just like sit with the family
In the
living
comfort
room.
of your own
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
So yeah.
Like
I think it's mainly as well how much they charge for food and drink, and that's where they make a lot of their money.
Yeah.
Concessions. It's ridiculous how much they charge for that.
But the good thing about cinema is like you have an atmosphere around you. Like you'll laugh with people,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like like it'll be enjoyable to watch. But like at home, it's just more like chill. I guess.
That's probably why I protect it a lot, because I know from my personal experience when I went to see Avengers Endgame in cinema, I think the first time I watched it, like having like a lot of people experience the same thing at the same time for the first time as well as you, like it creates like a certain like you said atmosphere,
Yeah.
and everyone like getting the same reaction. It like builds up tension as well better, and the final payoff just hits you harder as well when you're around other people. So that's definitely the main thing I'd protect about the cinema experience. But other than that, you kind of feel like they're driving people away themselves rather than people neglecting it or favouring streaming services, because it's just become, like you said, it's gone from like a good family day out to something you have to kind of plan now. Like you can't just say, oh, do you want to go to the cinema today? Like it's kind of like saying you have to like book in.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to like plan it and
Yeah.
get ready for it. 'Cause you have to get out of the house, don't you? Like, if you were watching Netflix, you could just like, oh, do you fancy watching this for a bit? And
Yeah.
if like you have the time, you're like, yeah. But
How big do you reckon streaming services can get in the future then?
I think it'll be like a global thing.
Yeah, even more than it is now.
Yeah, it's just gonna.
I think Disney Plus is going to be huge for that as well.
It creates competition for Netflix, doesn't it?
Massive competition.
Because-
I think I saw something about Netflix's stock dropping
Yeah.
massively, especially because of Disney Plus.
'Cause now they
But
own,
because
like, some films.
a lot of
Yeah.
Netflix's money go towards buying out films, like when they're in the
Mhm.
post-production stage, so they get them as an exclusive, not an original. So a lot of their money's going towards that, whereas Disney already own the rights to their films, so they don't have to pay any money to play them, basically. So they're winning in that department. And
Yeah.
also at the moment right now and going towards the future, Disney have got like a plan where they've got quality over quantity at the moment, whereas Netflix have quantity over quality.
Yeah.
But because Disney owns so many characters and so many films, basically, or stories, their quality and quantity is going to completely overshadow Netflix in the next, I'll say, 5 years.
Yeah, but the problem with Disney though, it's only available in one region.
Just for the time being.
Yeah, that's the time being. But like, maybe Netflix will think about it
I think they'll
during the next year and maybe like create even more of a competition, because like Netflix is a global thing. I feel like they're getting more and more money every day, and like I feel like they'll come up with a plan or something.
Yeah. I
So,
think they'll struggle next year when it gets released into Europe regions, even though they'll learn from the mistakes from
yeah,
when it released in America and they crashed. I think
Yeah.
they're still going to struggle because obviously they can't foresee how many people are going to jump on this bandwagon.
hmm
But in the long run, though, they're going to do fine for themselves, I think. So, yeah, that'll be it for episode 1 of Streaming Hour, talking
good.
about the trajectory of streaming services.
It was good. Nice.
Hope you
talking to
enjoyed.
Yeah, I did.
Thank you for listening.
Yep.
See you soon.
Yep. See you in the next episode.